Are you supporting the law enforcement community, or are you supporting communities of color? This is a false binary choice. The George Floyd incident certainly accelerated this conversation, and we find ourselves at a place with a package that I think speaks to the families that I spoke with yesterday who lost loved ones. We hear you.
So what we say on the Democratic side is, let's not do something that is a token, half-hearted approach.
Dog wait show! Dog wait show!
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
You could have cut New York's death toll by up to 80%. Do you feel responsible for the New Yorkers who died in this pandemic?
I think the New Yorkers who died did not die because we failed them.
I was not exactly right.
New York City police arresting a man accused of pushing a 92-year-old woman to the ground.
Yesterday, police charged 31-year-old Rashid Brimage with assault. He has approximately 65 prior arrests.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Quaker Oats, which is owned by Pepsi, announcing that they're getting rid of the 130-year-old Aunt Jemima brand, famous for pancake mixes, maple syrup, and other breakfast foods.
We're going to be here the entire morning with no maple syrup and no toothpicks. I'm definitely not going to have my pancakes.
Unchained and unstoppable.
Should the statue of Churchill be there or not?
Well, I've heard many arguments. Some say that he's a racist. Some say that he's a hero. I haven't personally met him.
Because he's been famously dead for 60 years.
What?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
That was a nice intro, but we've got some updates, or at least one update. That is that the guy who pushed down the 92-year-old woman that was with a walker in Gramercy Park in New York, he doesn't have 65 arrests. He actually has 103 arrests.
He's racked up a lot since I put that together. Good Lord.
And I've got the early edition of the New York Post. I mean, who knows how many he got in the late city final edition, how many he was up to. And Aunt Jemima's is going to be gone very shortly. As you know, I never was a big Aunt Jemima fan of the syrup. I'm from New England.
Aunt Jemima's is delicious, and so is Mrs. Butterworth's.
I like the real maple syrup.
There is nothing worse than the syrup snobs who are like, oh, I like the real from the tree. Give me a break. That stuff's gross.
The great thing about having a New England radio network, especially with a lot of stations in northern New England, I get a lot of free maple syrup, and from Maine, from Vermont, from New Hampshire, even sometimes from Massachusetts. Oh, it's great. I'm again, nothing against Aunt Jemima, but she's she can't stack up against real maple syrup, in my opinion. And that goes for, and that's not a racist thing to say either, because I don't care for Mrs. Butterworth's either. Where is Mrs. Butterworth? Is she around, or is she gone? Is she in the witness protection program as well? Who's going to be next?
This should have been our poll question. Do you like real maple syrup, or do you like Mrs. Butterworth?
But it's not, so when I heard that they were getting rid of Aunt Jemima, of course they took away her kerchief a long time ago, and they put her on a diet, and she was no longer fat. And I understand that she was a menstrual song when it all began, etc. But, I knew once Aunt Jemima was on the ropes that it was going to be Uncle Ben was going to be next. So I just Googled it in. Is Uncle Ben next? And sure enough, a story popped out saying that they're rethinking. Mars owns Uncle Ben's. I love Uncle Ben's rice. It's the best. And every time I pick up, and Uncle Ben has been changed too. He used to be dressed up as like a waiter. He used to be dressed in the same outfit that I wore when I was a busboy at the Colony Hotel in Kennebunkport, Maine. Somehow that wasn't racist for me to be in that outfit, but they changed his outfit and they gave him just an open collar. But that's not good enough now. So Uncle Ben is on his way out as well. And I don't have to tell you that Sambo's restaurant, that failed for reasons other than its name. It was kind of a lousy restaurant. but there were over 1,000 of them at one point. And the last Samba was in Santa Barbara, California, and it decided to change its name last week. So this is all the stuff that's going on today. It's a very woke day here in the United States of America. And this is a famous day in American history. This is Bunker Hill Day. This is June 17th. And there was a statement made. I don't know how to interpret what this statement means now under the new woke guidelines. But as the British troops were coming up the hill, the colonials, the Minutemen, didn't have enough powder and shot, so they had to conserve their fire. They had to conserve their ammo, and so General Israel Putnam gave the instructions, and it was delivered to the troops by Colonel William Prescott. And this used to be known by every schoolboy and girl in Massachusetts, in New England, large parts of the country overall. You know what General William Prescott said to the troops at the top of Bunker Hill?
No, I do not.
Don't shoot until you see the whites of their eyes. Now, is that allowed to say? Whites of their eyes? I'll leave that to you. That's
you can't,
as Governor Murphy would say, that's above my pay grade.
If it's not on Twitter, that means they haven't figured it out yet, the mob. So you giving people the lessons is not helping.
Someone wants to know what's going to happen to Vermont Maid. I haven't seen her lately either. I think she may have gone on the lam with Mrs. Butterworth.
Is that another syrup brand?
Vermont Maid? Yes. Vermont Maid, she has these long goldy locks.
Not to sound
Kinda
like Bernie
you.
Sanders, but how many brands of syrup do we need in this country?
And wait, but there's more. There's more news. If you didn't hear about this, there's a woman in the UK. This is not the same woman who hasn't met Winston Churchill yet. This is a different woman, different woke woman in the UK. She says that she was thrown out of Parliament apparently for lying about a speeding ticket or something. I don't quite get what happened, but she's a disgraced politician. So she sent out a tweet and said, I'm kind of offended that the symbol of Cocoa Puffs, which is of course dark brown, is a monkey. And the symbol of Rice Krispies is, as she put it, 3 white boys. She said, because it's the same cereal. Number one, I don't think she's ever had either cereal if she thinks Cocoa Puffs is the same cereal as Rice Krispies.
And number two, Cocoa Puffs is a bird. It's not a monkey.
Well, that's what she said. I don't know.
Still
what
a bird?
I'm not a no.
And
I
maybe
think
it's different in Britain. Hold on, let me see. I'm your on-site Google machine.
No, they said they actually said the company Kellogg said that they made the monkey you're behind the times, Taylor. The monkey has been the symbol for a while. They said it's because it's a playful creature. But see, they also
what happened to the cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs bird?
No, that's gone. That's gone. They also have apparently a vanilla Cocoa Puff. I didn't know this either. I've learned a lot about cereal in the last few hours.
I know a lot about cereal.
And the symbol, the monkey is also the symbol of the vanilla Cocoa Puffs. And this is even more important as this foolish British politician, this ousted Labour Party member of Parliament, learned from her Twitter followers. They have a chocolate Rice Krispies, which I was also not familiar with.
Oh, wait, I figured out the issue here. We're conflating two cereals here. Cocoa Puffs is General Mills. That's still Cuckoo the Cocoa Puff bird. Cocoa Pops is Kellogg's, and that's Coco the monkey.
Okay.
Wasn't Coco a gorilla, a famous gorilla that could do sign language?
Don't know.
I think everyone should just skip all of this and get some Honey Bunches of Oats because that is where it's at.
And that's a grown-up cereal. Yes,
It's
come on.
delicious.
But anyway, there is a chocolate Rice Krispies, and the 3 white boys.
Yes.
So what are we supposed to do?
I don't
Is
know.
that Taylor or Charlie Baker? So what are we supposed to do?
What are we supposed to do about the Cocoa Puffs and the Keebler elves.
I don't know, Taylor, but I have to tell you this. They've come for the books. They've come for the statues. They've come for everything. I have not seen Howie as upset as this morning when he started reading about the food. When he started reading about the rice and the syrups, he was upset.